What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to ICNV Drives Edition. I want to talk about real quick the C8 market. I got a lot of people talking to me about a video they seen. I think it was by Vet Titan or something like that. He was addressing the current misrepresentation of the C8 market, and I was asked what's my thoughts on it. And not only that, but the simple fact that a lot of people keep asking me my take on the C8 market in general, not just because of his video. So I feel like I should address it again, the strength of the Corvette C8 market. So let's talk about it. Okay, real quick before we get too deep into this conversation, because it's going to be a good one. I'm going to give you a lot of interesting information. But before we get too deep into it, please hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done it. If this is your first time here, trust me, we have very interesting conversations about cars in general. A lot about the Corvette. That's pretty much because I own one, but we have good conversation here. It's a great place for any car enthusiast or car lover just to shoot the breeze, see some good content, and have some good conversations. So please subscribe to the ICNV Drive Edition community. Now let's move forward. So when we talk about the C8 market, I feel like this is an ongoing conversation that's probably never going to end because it's not giving people the answers they want to hear. And when I say that to you, I'm going to say it like this. The biggest problem we have when it comes to the C8 market is people don't truly understand dealer markups. And I'm saying this to you because a lot of people are paying dealer markups and swear that they're not. Maybe it's a principle thing. Maybe it's the fact that you don't want to make it seem like you got shafted, screwed over, but it's a common thing right now, and a lot of people aren't getting away from it. And when I say a lot of people, I'm saying realistically somewhere around 70 to 80% of the people that tell you they bought their car at MSRP, they did not buy their car at MSRP. So that's the biggest problem. So when I say that to you, Vet Titan, I watched his video, and my thing with him is he's a very passionate person. So the information he was saying is not necessarily wrong, it's just I don't always agree upon his delivery. Now, with that said, I agree. I feel like a lot of YouTubers use clickbait. When I say clickbait, that is they say stuff that they know people want to hear to get views, although they know it's not true. And that's the problem. And I'm saying that to you is because, yes, Horsepower Obsessed got rid of his C8 and said this is the right time for me to get rid of my C8, and I'll tell you why the market's going down. C. Garner got rid of his C8. He used those exact words. I'm getting rid of my C8 right now because it's the right time. The market's going down. And at the end of the day, the market hasn't went down. Every time I look at a C8 on the aftermarket scene or in Corvette forums or at dealerships, because I still call around just to check and make sure my information is valid. Every time I hear somebody talk about a C8, see a C8 price and so forth, it's still over MSRP. The funny thing about it is, and I want people to understand this, I purchased my 2020 well over almost a year and a half ago. And when I purchased my 2020, it was going for 30, 40 grand over MSRP. Now, in the grand scheme of things, that was a car with less than 500 or 1,000 miles. in the grand scheme of things, my car currently has 11,000 miles on it. Well, let me say I'm closing on 11,000. It's still like 10,900 something, but that's just nickel and diamond. But my car is close to 11,000 miles on it. So when I go online and look at comparable Corvette C8s, 2020s, 3LTs to mine, guess what? They're still selling for 106 to 111,000 on the retail side. So when you say the market is crashing, I just want you to understand, I bought my car for $106,000, $107,000 plus tax, title, license, so forth, yada yada. But so in today's market, and I'll just be real with you, I was like 111,000 out the door. So that's usually what I look at when people say how much you pay for your car, 111,000 out the door. My whole point behind saying that to you is I still see these cars retailing for right around what I pay out the door for my car. And that's what you have to understand. So if you're telling me the market is going down, right? But I still see cars of my caliber, even my current car. If I was to put on the retail side for sale, I would probably list it for somewhere right around 108 to 111,000, depending on how fast I want to move it. But if I took it to CarMax and tried to sell it, I'm still getting over 100,000 for my car. And that wasn't the MSRP of the car. And it's still, just so you understand, it still has close to 11,000 miles. So when you say, oh, the bottom of the Corvette market is coming out, like our friend, I forget, you see the video, he always comes out analyzing cars. I can't think of his name right now. I deeply apologize. I'm not trying to bash him because he's a good guy. He gives you good information. But my thing is, he says one thing even with his graphs when they show another. And I say that to you because like he'll point out new cars, but the Corvette is not sitting on lots. So when you start comparing 2023 new cars and say, well, they're selling at this price, that may be true, but there is no new car data to compare with at this current time for, say, a 2022, because all the 2022s were pre-ordered and pretty much pre-sold. So they're not sitting on lots being advertised for money. And that's what I want you to understand. So his information isn't wrong, but the pricing continues to go up. So when you're sitting there saying that the Corvette market is falling out, the bottom is falling out the Corvette market, but yet you still can't buy a used 2020 for MSRP. They're still selling on average 10 to 15 grand over MSRP, a used 2020 with under 10,000 miles. That's not a sign of a market busting when you're now 4 model years in. And I'm almost going to guarantee you by the time we hit to the 5th model year, they probably still be selling above MSRP. So yes, the price is coming down, but it's coming down because of what's going on with the vehicle. You can't expect a 20,000 mile or a 30,000 mile vehicle to sell for a $30,000 premium. That's just not realistic. But the market is still holding strong. And now I want to get this out because I know Z06 Price, and I'm expecting to be released within the next 10 days. So that's key for me because I want people to understand, if you buy a brand new Corvette, I still say it's a safe bet, especially if you can get an MSRP. I tell everybody, to me, the sweet spot is 10 to 15 grand because at 10 to 15 grand, I truly believe you can ride the car, enjoy it for a year, and get out of it if you're going to chase a Z06. That's my thought. I still feel like the Z06 is probably going to come in somewhere. I'm saying 92 to 95. I really believe it's going to come out somewhere around that. And then when you add the dealer markups, we're hearing 50 grand to 100 grand. That it's going to price some people out of the market. But at the same point in time, the dealer markups are just going to make it so that the C8 remains strong. So a lot of people's belief is that when the Z06 comes out, or the price of the Z06 comes out, the Stingray butt market is going to burst. And I don't agree with that. I feel like the only thing it's going to do is solidify or validate probably a 15 to 20 grand markup pricing for the C8. That's it. Because there's going to be a big enough jump in price plus dealer markups to help keep it strong. I don't think everybody on the list for Z06 is going to be a Z06 buyer. That's just my opinion, and that's why I took on the Chasing the Z06 challenge, because I feel like a lot of people signed up thinking they're going to get a car in the 80s, and I just don't see it coming in the 80s. I believe it's going to be a mid 90 to just under $100,000 car, and at that price range, that's like a $10,000 jump. And I'll just be real with you. Some people gonna say $10,000, that's nothing if you expecting. Let's be real. It's not the fact that it's a $10,000 jump. It's the fact it's a $10,000 jump. Most people aren't going to get MSRP. Some people are going to get hit with 25, 30, 50 grand over MSRP. And then when you add those taxes in, that tax is on top of an extra 10 grand. So say for instance, your budget is 120, but you're thinking the car is going to come in at 88. Or say for instance, you think your budget is 115 out the door, and you're thinking the car is going to come in at 88, and it comes in at 97. Well, that's $10,000 more dollars. Then you spec it out the way you want to spec it out, and say that gets you to 107, $10,000 more dollars. And then you add tax, title, and license. And I don't know where everybody lives, but just in the Chicago area, we just use 10% as a rough figure, but slightly above that, where you do tax, title, license plates, and everything out the door. If I'm at 107, I'm now looking at $117,000, and my budget was 115. So do I now drop everything and go back to a base 1LZ? I'm sorry, I'm getting sidetracked from the whole point of this video, but that's my thoughts and my belief on what's going to happen. So right now I'm telling you the C8 market is a strong market, and the reason why I said we want to talk about over MSRP payments is because people are buying these cars, or the cars are being resold, and what's not being talked about, and I've seen it in several videos from a couple YouTubers like CJ on 32s. There's another YouTuber, I can't think of his name, but the reason why I'm bringing them up is because they went out to purchase a couple C8s, and what's upsetting them is that the dealerships, and this is what's happening, and this is why I say his information is invalid. Dealerships are now lowering the price that's advertised for the car. So they're telling you now where a 2020 C8 used to be advertised, just say for $111,000. Well, they're dropping that to $106,000, and they're like, oh, see, the C8 market's busting. So people are coming in at $106,000, right? Then when you get in and they give you the paperwork and evaluation or the numbers, you're out to do a pricing. They have this thing called dealer prep fee for $39.95. Like, what the hell are you doing to a car for $39.95? $39.95 on top of a $106,995, that puts you right back at $110,000. And that's what I want people to understand. So they didn't change what they want for the car. They just restructure how they ask for it. And that's what's going on. A lot of people are buying cars. I watch it all day in Facebook forums and Corvette chat rooms and so forth, where people are asking, hey, I went to buy my car and my dealer's charging me $39.95 for a dealer prep fee on top of a brand new car a person just ordered. I'm like, that's not a real dealer prep fee. Dealer prep fees are usually anywhere from $29.95. Dealer prep fees are usually $295 to $495, which $495 is technically absurd, just in case you didn't know. But that's usually what a dealer prep fee is. That's only washing your car and putting license plates and so forth on it. They have another box down low, because I know some people say, well, wait, do the tax title. They have another box down low that's called tax, title, license, and transfer and so forth, electronic filing fees. All that's listed out. So when people try to tell me that the dealer prep fee consists of any repair work they've done to the car, that is false, because any repair work done to the car has already been calculated into the value of the car, or the cost of the car to the dealership for being sold. They don't add that back on top. When people tell you that at dealerships, they just trying to convince you I'm not even gonna say convince you, they're giving you a logical reason why they're charging you more money. But I guarantee you that cost they're telling you about has already been calculated into what the car bottom line is for the dealer to sell it. So like I always ask when people tell me that, because I was looking for a car and I was helping a friend buy a car. It's like, oh yeah, you know, we had to repair and so forth. That's perfectly fine. Do me a favor. Can I see what you repaired on the car? And then some people get hesitant. And this is not a car buy video, but I just want you to understand this. Some dealers get hesitant. They don't want to show you what they repaired on the car. You know why? Because they really didn't do nothing to the car. Now, when a dealership actually restores a car, or you get to arguing about the price of a car, this information I just told you to ask for, they will bring it to you and throw it in your face. They usually will sit there and say, look, we got this car in. The vehicle that you fell in love with today isn't what we had. We put new brakes on it. We put new tires on it. We changed the oil. We did some touch-up paint. They bring you the paperwork and show you everything they've done into the car to validate why they can't just give it away. But when you ask them, hey, let me see the paperwork of what you did to the car, and they start, well, you know, that's because they didn't do anything to the car. So like I tell people all the time, and I want you to understand this, if you're selling me a used Corvette C8 with under 500 miles on it, what did you do to the car? If the Corvette has 32 miles on it and you trying to give me a dealer prep fee of $29.95, $39.95, what repair cost did you sustain or encounter to sell this car? And that's just it. People don't understand, or they do understand. What's going on is they're selling people new cars and they're charging them dealer prep fees. They're charging them dealer prep fees saying like, hey, you know, some items are listed on the paperwork when you order the car as a dealer install option. And they're telling people that that's part of that dealer prep fee for them installing the dealer installed option. Well, I want you to understand this. When it says dealer install option and you pay for that part, GM is already paying them to install the option. They're not telling you to get it at the dealer, then pay the dealer to install the option. So if you think that's how that works, you are wrong. And again, I'm just letting you know this so you understand when the dealer is charging you markup. When the dealer makes you pick up a warranty, that is markup. And I'm gonna say the best one for last. When you hear the McGrath Car Care plan, where it's we put nitrogen in your tires, we'll pick up your vehicle anywhere within 50 miles and bring it in for servicing, free car washes, yada yada yada, things of that nature, and then they want to charge you $19.95, $29.95, whatever they're charging. That again is dealer markup. You don't need nitrogen in your tires. That's like crazy BS. Why would you need nitrogen in your tires? But if you see a value in it and don't argue it, that's just it. Again, when they charge you the McGrath, and I'm just throwing McGrath out there, not really attacking a specific dealer. When they charge you the McGrath, you know, dealer plan, right? That we and the first thing they tell you is we put it on every car. The minute you hear we put it on every car, that is a dealer markup that they're forcing on every customer. The next thing is, why do you need it? And I want you to understand this. Why do you need it if you're getting this car shipped across country? You don't. But they're forcing on you. And if they do take it off, they'll try to find somewhere else to put it on. But like I said, those are the best ones because I see them all the time. And a lot of people buy them saying, oh, my dealer's charging this. And as of lately, I'm seeing this same dealer option now starting to cost $11,000, $10,000. And they're throwing in ceramic coating. They're throwing in PPF. And here's my thing with that, and I want you to be honest with you. PPF is a good source, but unless I want PPF, PPF does not benefit me if I want to wrap my car. It becomes a problem. Ceramic coating does not benefit me if I want to wrap my car. It's actually a problem. So that's what I need you to understand. But again, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. A lot of people are paying markups, don't even understand they're paying markups, or they do understand, they just don't want to admit to it. And then after that, everything else going forward, the C8 market is stable, it's actually strong. When you hear it's coming down, people are lying to you. They're just giving you information to click on, to watch, and they're trying to tell you what you want to hear. And what most people want to hear, because they don't want to pay a premium for a Corvette C8, is that the market is falling. But unfortunately, it's not. It's solid, it's stable. So thanks for tuning in. Please like and share the video. Some good information covered in here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I like chatting with you guys. I like having open, honest conversation. But until the next video, stay safe, stay blessed. I'll see you in these streets. Peace. So here's the thing, everybody. That video was filmed and edited around July 11th to July 12th. It's set to be released for July 16th. But of course, all the Z06 information came out and everybody pretty much got crazy. But the reason why I decided to go ahead and release the video, because I went back and forth about that, was the information is still relevant today. And with that being said, I did my research on the video around July 6th, July 8th, shortly after the 4th, because everybody kept saying the C8 market was falling, it was crashing. And so when I look at the market today, so from July 8th, some of the cars I looked at several locations after the Z06 pricing came out, and I would say pretty much July 19th, some of those cars have increased in price anywhere between $3,000 to $5,000. So not every car has moved in market value, but a lot of cars are slowly starting to creep up as people are starting to realize they have gotten priced out of the Z06 market. So what does that mean? Again, that the C8 market is stable. And not only is it stable, I still feel like when you start talking to dealers and ask them for out the door pricing, you're still getting hit with these $29.95 and $39.95 dealer prep fees, especially on the C8s now that have 4,000 miles on them and more. What they're telling you is they had to do some repair work to make the vehicle back to a good driving condition or a safe condition to sell, and that's not necessarily true. But again, so all that's really happening now is they're just changing the focus on how they get their money. I have another video coming because I'm going to do some more research. I'm going to let it play out for about a week or two. Then I'm going to drop another video with the current information about the C8 market and how the Z06 pricing has affected, especially when people start placing orders within the next week or so to see how it really starts to affect it. So thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate the support.